Peki zuwa mamman. Peki biyo. Gashi na au. Maga. Peki biyo.
Can someone contact Mariam? Call Mariam.
Maryam, da Allah yaranki suna surutu ki rufe mut naki din mana saboda surutun yana damu.
Okay.
And Gogi, if your microphone is on.
Madam, good afternoon.
Open the demo list as your
Good
visitors
afternoon,
will
sir.
join from outside.
Namaskar to all of you. So, we are going to start our class from BSW, third semester and fourth semester. So, today ma'am is going to teach BSW-124, human growth and behavior and psychology. So ma'am is going to teach this today. So Professor Poonam Guleria is a very good academician. So we all will enjoy with this class. I mean, so I welcome you from this IGNOU fraternity, ma'am. So today, now it is a, I mean, I think it's early morning in the African countries. So I welcome all of you to this IGNOU classes. So I also welcome all of you on behalf of our Vice Chancellor, on behalf of Regional Director. So we do feel everybody will enjoy the class. Already we have taken the first year class. So this is your second year. So that's why today you are organizing the class and it will continue BSW 124, 125, 126 and 127. So thank you very much to all of you. So if you have any problem, any query, you can ask to me. So ma'am is there. Now I hand over the session to ma'am. Ma'am, please.
Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Dr. Panigrahi, and to the Director, IGNOU Regional Center, Bhubaneswar, for giving me this opportunity. Some of you have joined on time, which is very good. We are waiting for others to join. Yes, Mariam, you have raised your hand. You want to say something? Yes, sir.
Your voice is not coming.
Okay, I think that volume was low. Is it fine now? Good afternoon, sir. Thank you very much. Now is it clear? Is my voice coming to all of you?
Yes, ma. Yes, ma.
Thank you, sir. I just checked that volume was on the lower grade. Thank you. So I was saying that some of you have joined on time, which is very good. Thanks to Dr. Panigrahi, to Director, Regional Center, Bhubaneswar, for giving me this opportunity. And I hope that others will also join soon, because if we keep waiting for everyone, then we are losing time. We have this slot till 5 p.m. and we have 6 working days beginning today. Mariam wanted to say something. She raised her hand before we begin. Now it's there. Now it's
Yes,
there. Thank you.
yes, ma'am. Yes, it is coming.
Okay. So I have believe and understand that you are used to the online platform. Last year, semester 1 and 2, you have done online. And I have made some presentations for you for the 6 working days that we have beginning today and next Monday to Friday, same timing, 3 to 5 p.m. Does anyone have any query, or should I share? Can I begin with sharing my presentation, which I have prepared?
Ma'am, today the first class we are 10:50 late. You can continue up to 5:50.
Okay, sir. Definitely. Definitely. So, dear students, would you like to introduce yourselves, or do you want me to start with the presentation? Is there anything you want to say? Any apprehensions, interests, anything that you want to share before we begin? Everyone is comfortable in their respective places? Yes, Ahmad, Uba, tell me.
Yeah, my name is Ahmed Buba. I'm from Nigeria.
Right.
Yeah.
Would others like to introduce themselves? This being the first day, and there are only 21 of you. Yes, so little idea I will get. I know you're from various parts of the country. I know that. That's all. So please go ahead. Right. Yes, Anas. Maybe I pronounce your name not correctly.
All
Please
that is to
correct me
raise their hand.
if
That's
I'm wrong.
correct.
Yes.
My name is Anas Salisu Isa from Nigeria.
Okay. Nigeria. Right. Very good. Yes. Yes. Chipiliro. Zimba.
My name is
Please go ahead.
Chipiro Jimba from Malawi.
With all that is enough is to listen by raised hands.
Good. Yes. Who's next? Prisa.
Yeah, I'm White Audience from Uganda, Kampala. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Mariam. Then Nafisa.
My name is Mariam
All that is to
Abubakar
raise their hand.
from Nigeria.
Okay. And Nafisa.
My name is Nafisa Tahir from Nigeria.
All that is twist the
Right.
elders and one that
Joanne.
raised hands.
Michael. Yes.
I didn't like
Yes. Please go ahead. Cliff. Who else would want to introduce themselves? Please go ahead. Okay. So then I begin. Okay. Thank you so much. That's nice. Do you know each other well enough up since the first semester, second semester that you both semesters you have done together? So I assume you know each other well enough. Okay.
Yes, ma.
Okay.
Yeah, we
Fine.
have been
Fine.
together.
So when possible, I am beginning with my. Can you see the screen now? I'm presenting my slides. Is the screen visible to all of you?
Yes, ma. Yes, ma. It's visible.
Yes, visible. So I'm beginning, and when possible, we will take questions towards the end. You can make your notes. You can write in the chat and keep it ready. I will also address your questions as we go along. I have prepared very simple presentations so that the matter is easily communicated to you because online requires that easy communication. Yes, Mariam, you want to say something?
No, ma.
Okay. And because if your videos are on when possible, it will keep you alert. That's basically the purpose of keeping the video on also. Otherwise, what happens? We tend to be lazy. We tend to lie down in the bed. Okay, somebody's saying something. Maybe we will read it later on. Let's not do that. Let's attempt, even if it's a technical subject, because some element of technicality is also there in what we are discussing today. Let's try and see how best we can contribute to our learning. So as Dr. Panigrahi mentioned, this course is BSW-124. It's called Human Growth, Behavior and Counseling. There are 4 big major blocks. The course is divided into 4 blocks. Block 1 is process of growing up. Block 2 is human growth and development. You can see the screen, right? Because as I said, I have made 30 slides for today and simple ones so that you can make your notes and you can hear me at the same time and we can discuss subsequently. The third block is basics of psychology for social workers and the fourth block is basics of counseling. These 4 blocks I will cover in 6 classes as I mentioned beginning today. And our attempt is that even when we may find certain aspects of the course very rudimentary, very basic, it is medical aspect, or somebody may feel that I already know about this, I studied it in science. We need to remind ourselves that social work derives from various disciplines. So there will be some element of science, some element of physiology, some elements of psychology, some elements of behavior, some elements of human growth and development, some elements of counseling. So the course in itself, we need to understand what it entails. It is simple reading, but if we are attentive today in the class, what will happen is that it will become simple for you to go back and read from the text and you will not have to worry about what has been done because most of it will be covered in 2 hours class today. That's my attempt, right? So as I mentioned, the first block which we are covering today, it's called process of growing up. Now, when we think of process of growing up, we think, what's the big deal? We are master students. Of course, we know what is growing up all about. Definitely, we know what growing up is all about. But what happens is that sometimes in our effort, in assuming that we know everything, we tend to sometimes miss out the basics. Sometimes we know the basics, but we may be comfortable or uncomfortable in dealing with it when we are in the field, when our clients are in front of us, when we work with organizations. Do you go for field work? Can I ask you that? Do you have field work? Has field work begun for you in any way?
We have
Can you
we
let
have
me know?
done field work in
Do you go to any?
first semester and second semester, but the one that was uploaded in
Correct.
the one that was uploaded in this fourth semester, third semester, is not in the LMS, but we are told
Correct.
that we are going to do field work.
Correct. So thank you for letting me know that. And the purpose of my asking that question is that when we talk of such basic things like male reproductive system and its functioning, female reproductive system and its functioning, early stages of human growth, what are the later stages of human growth? What do we mean by youth and their concerns? We are all youngsters. Of course, we know our concerns. As I said, sometimes a matter of fact view is taken by us as adults, as mature adults. But when we are working as professional social workers, when we are working in the field as student social workers, when we are working with organizations, then there are certain organizations where the technical aspects of growing up, institutional settings where counseling is the primary way of connecting with the clients, becomes very essential for us. And therefore, this course begins with the basics of the human reproductive system. That sometimes we are shy, uncomfortable, skipping these parts in the biology class in our school days. And by the time we reach our master's class, we are like, oh my God, we can't be discussing this again. But the fact is that because we need to be sure of ourselves personally and professionally in dealing with clients, and certain aspects of clients in organizations may require that we work in teams with doctors, with nurses, with physiotherapists, with counselors, with psychiatrists, with psychologists. Teamwork sometimes in organizations requires that we understand what the doctor, the nurse, the physiotherapist, the psychologist, the psychiatrist are looking at, how they are viewing the client as a human being. And that is why the objectives of this course, as displayed and which you can see, I'm sure, on the screen, talks of, begins with the course BSW-124 begins with identifying the organs of male and female reproductive system, goes on to enumerate the physiological changes which take place in adolescence for boys and girls, discusses the functioning of the organs, which is again the physiological aspects of the human body, explains the related concepts, and focuses on the need to compare and contrast the structure and the functioning of the male and the female reproductive system. These are the objectives with which this block 1 has been designed, called process of growing up. We have grown up, but sometimes we may have missed out that what was the process. If we recall it, revisit it now, it will enable us to be better professional social workers, better student social workers, better equipped, as I said, to work in a team with doctors, with nurses. Sometimes there are paramedical staff in hospital settings. Sometimes clinics have paramedical staff. Sometimes nurses and doctors expect that the counselor or the social worker obviously will know what is human growth and development. At that time, we can't say that we studied it in 12th standard, 11th standard, undergraduate days, biology class, and we forgot about it. So this is a very preliminary attempt at revisiting some of that. It is enumerated very well in the written matter, which is provided by IGNOU in the books which have been published for BSW course students, right? So human growth, when we look at it, very simply, talks, the literature talks on the physical aspects of growing up, the physical aspects of the body's growth before the child is born to being a full grown adult. And as I mentioned, it is this literature on physical aspects which is found in the field of medicine and allied sciences. So we borrow from biology, we borrow from medicine, we borrow from related fields, as I mentioned, from psychology, from sociology, from counseling, and from behavior therapy as well. So when you go through this module, the anatomy of the sex organs is defined, the body systems and the knowledge about it needs to be. Yes, Abdul Salam, you want to say something? Mustafa?
Hello, good morning, ma'am. Good morning,
Good
ma'am.
morning.
How are you doing?
Good morning. I'm doing good. You're following what I'm saying?
I am welcoming to all our my classmates and you. I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Ma, I
Thank you
have
very much.
one question about human growth.
Let me
Sir?
go. You keep your questions. Listen, Abdul sir.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
requesting everyone, keep your
Okay.
questions in the
Okay.
notebook. Write it down. When I
Okay.
finish,
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
I will finish. I will give you time for questions. Okay. So I want
Okay.
to go
Okay.
through
Thank
my.
you, ma'am.
I will go through my 30 slides, which I've made very simple ones. This is already slide 4. So I will give you time definitely for questions, right? So write it down, keep it ready. Maybe some of the questions may be answered, or we may find the answers as we go along. Okay. So that's good. So I was just discussing that as social workers, as professional social workers, we borrow from various fields of medicine, from the allied sciences, from biology, from psychology, from sociology as well. The anatomy of the sex organs is delineated in this module. The knowledge of the body systems, which we are well aware of because we have arrived at the master's level, and the knowledge about it is essential for us to be professional social workers, working in a health setting, working in a medical setting, working with patients who may have maybe physical and physiological symptoms, working with patients in the field where physical and psychological symptoms may also be intertwined. Sometimes you may have heard of a word called psychosomatic, which means that the psychology of the human being impacts the physiology. I may get a stomach ache or a headache, but the symptom may not always be physiological. Therefore, it is important to understand what is human growth, what are the sex organs, how men and women look different from each other, are different from each other, physiologically, how they are made, and how the reproductive system is structured for the physiology of the human being. Yes, somebody wants to say something? Right. So, the reproductive system of the human being has 3 structural components, as is displayed on the screen in this slide number 5. The organs for the production of germ cells, testis in males and ovaries in females, which is a set of tubes for transportation of germ cells. And they are also the organs for delivery and reception of the sperm. So as I said, these are very, very basic things which are enumerated in the module, which is essential for us to know. Even though we are aware of it, it is delineated for our understanding of the physiology of the body. And also when we relate, as I mentioned, to other professionals or paraprofessionals, we need to be aware of the system our body as a system, right? Now we come to the next important aspect in growing up, in human growth, which is adolescence. What does adolescence mean? As is written and mentioned to you in this presentation, adolescence basically means to grow and to mature. It is a period of growth and maturity. It talks of physical maturity, mental emotional maturity, and social maturity. So it is not just that our physical organs and the physiology of the body makes us mature, but emotionally we need to be mature. Our relationships in society, with classmates, with peers, with adults, with older people, with younger people, with same age group people, with peers, all these, the way we relate impacts our maturity level. So psychologically, we may say that it is the age when the individual is in a position to become integrated into the society of adults. That is when we call that he is an adolescent. It also includes intellectual changes in human beings and the intellectual transformations, how we think, how we believe, how we behave, how we respond, how we react, how we pause. If somebody asks us to wait, do we have the maturity to wait? If somebody asks us to collaborate, do we have the maturity? What does it mean to work in a team and collaborate? All these form part of maturing. All these form part of intellectual transformations, right? Which enable us to achieve integration into the social relationships of adults. Who was asking the question? Does it relate to what I have said so far, or do you think that you are fine with going with me through the presentation and then asking your questions? Maria, you want to say something?
No, ma.
You can mute this. You know how to mute that, right? Because you raised your hand, so I thought maybe you want to ask something. Okay, no problem.
No.
So, okay, so social relationships of adults are such that we know how to integrate with each other, how to speak with each other, how to connect with each other, right? How to respond in a mature way without hurting the feelings of other people. So, a lot is being demanded of us in maturing up. If a lot is being demanded of us in maturing up, when we deal with our client systems, go to the field, find that there are issues where people need help from us as social workers, then we need to know how best to be able to do that. So, emotional instability is being experienced by many adolescents, it says, from time to time. A lot of emotional instability, do you know, has arisen during the COVID period. Do you know why? Why do you think that emotional instability has arisen during the COVID period? Anybody can tell me why?
Ma'am,
Yes,
ma'am, for
yes,
my own idea, is like based on emotional, like you may feel love, yeah, to maybe to your beloved one, and that is based
yes,
on emotionals when you get into adolescence.
yes. When you get into adolescence, there are a lot of issues which may arise, which may create conflict in how you think, how you relate to others, if you like someone, if you dislike someone, how does it work? But I'm asking also a very difficult, pertinent, important question, because you were also there online in the COVID times. That did COVID impact us in any way? Do you think that when the reports in the newspapers are saying that COVID was the time when a lot of emotional and mental turmoil also took place besides medical problems. Do you think that why would that have happened? Anybody can say? Did it impact our relationships? We were not meeting each other except online. Were we meeting each other? Yes?
Hello, Ma.
Yes.
In some aspect here, we in Nigeria, it's not like in your country. In Nigeria, a lot
Correct.
of people are not allowed to interact with each others because
Okay.
someone can be infected with the COVID. That's why we are dispatched in different places.
Correct.
And if someone was if the government or the health care centers were informed that someone was infected with disease in a specific area,
Correct.
people are not allowed to reach that area. That thing touches people without
Yes.
knowing that. Thank you, ma.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. That is very important what you have shared. In India also, some people were not allowed to meet. But what happened is that suppose my partner or my sibling or my parent is infected and I have to attend to my parent or sibling or partner. Will I, that time we had to think that will I leave that person or will I attend to that person? And other than maintaining social distance, we were also worried about each other. So the fear, the guilt, the lack of being, we were not used to being confined to our houses. We used to earlier meet friends freely, remember? But now we could not meet everyone freely and we felt inhibited that we could not go out of the house comfortably and it restrained our social relations. So this brings me to the next slide of social adjustments, which in the normal course is perceived as one of the most difficult tasks in adolescence because our body is changing. There are a lot of changes taking place in the physiology of the body. So our mental thought patterns also make us confused at the adolescent stage. We are following some set of patterns which our parents are telling us. In some houses, we are told this is the way things are done. Outside world may be different. Friends may be saying, oh, doesn't matter. We can tell one small lie and go for a movie. We can go out, we can come back late. This is not a problem. We are big grown-ups now. Social acceptance becomes an issue for us. That whether we are going to be accepted by our friends, our classmates, our neighbors. So social adjustments also means that we begin developing a strong sense of self. Who am I? How I should behave? Should I listen to what my parents say or what my neighbors say or what my classmates say or what my friends say? Sometimes we get carried away. Can we remember ourselves at that age of 13 to 19? Anybody can remember what I'm trying to say at that stage of one's life? How did we feel? We want to dress well. We want to look smart. We want to dress the way our friends dress. We don't want to dress like old. Sometimes we tell our parents, you are old, you're old fashioned, right? So when our parents grow older and we grow up, yes, Stephen, we think that they are old. We are the ones who are the smarter ones. We know how to live our life. Our ways are the correct ways. Did we feel like this in the growing up stages? Can we remember our time? Does anyone remember any of these times when you want to dress differently from your parents, look differently from your parents, look more like your friends, want to be independent? Don't tell me what to do. Sometimes we used to tell our parents that. Don't tell me what to do. I know what I have to do. I'm a grown-up person now. I have a mind of my own. All the education that we are getting and the growing up of the body and the growing up of the mind and the growing up of the thought process makes us feel that we are well adjusted with the society. So all this is an integral part of growing up. And all this is an integral part of the first phase of this module called human growth and behavior. As I mentioned to you a little while ago, the physical changes, what are the physical changes which happens in boys? In teenage, the shape of the body changes. The muscles begin to grow firm. Voice begins to break a little bit. And the boys begin to develop their genital organs. These are the physical changes which take place. Now, there are some important terms which are noted down here, which we may be aware of, but it is good to revisit, as I mentioned, not only for our own selves, but also because if we work in medical settings, health settings, or work in collaboration with doctors, nurses, or paramedical staff, work in clinics, go for field work in settings which require an understanding of the physical body. And we should not be surprised by anything that the doctor or the nurses are discussing because we have forgotten about it. So the important terms are mentioned in the slide, which I mentioned before to you. The word testis is derived from the term testify, meaning to witness. And the term testosterone, another important term for us to know. In our biology classes, we were taught that when the testes mature, they begin to produce the male hormones. And that is a sign of growing up physiologically. It is the testosterone which directs each part of the reproductive system in its physical growth. It triggers the growth of facial hair. It causes men's voice to deepen. As I mentioned, muscles begin to develop. Genital organs grow in size. There's some new term which was told to us called wet dreams, where during adolescence, it's a new experience for boys. And they are uncomfortable because it's the first time that such experiences are happening. So physiological changes in the body, these wet dreams are also called night emissions. It is actually a safety valve for accumulated semen. So these experiences in boys make them feel uncomfortable because those are all aspects of growing up. So growing up, as I mentioned, is physiological, physical, and psychological because it impacts our psyche, it impacts our thoughts, it makes us think, this is what I am. Oh, this is what it means to grow up. Oh my God, I'm feeling uncomfortable. My voice is cracking. It is not as mature as my older brothers or my neighbor who's older to me or like my father's. All these things cross our minds in growing up. So that completes unit 1 of the male reproductive system and the related aspects of growing up. Now we come to unit 2, the female reproductive system. The objectives with which this unit has been written and designed is as follows. First, it enumerates the physical changes in the females. It enables identification of the various organs of the female reproductive system. It discusses the functioning of the female reproductive system. And last but not the least, it enables us to understand the process of menstruation, pregnancy, and childbirth. In this, again, we need to discuss what are the changes and the related aspects in adolescence of the girl child. So adolescence is the period of transition between childhood and adulthood. In the formative years, physical changes take place, psychological changes take place, and behavioral changes take place also in girls. It is the time for preparation for undertaking responsibilities. So this transition period between childhood and adulthood, which is adolescence, is the time which the human being is being given by nature for preparation for undertaking responsibilities as an adult. It is also the time to enhance healthy all-round development. In girls, what are the physical changes? Breast development begins before adolescence, between 9 to 11 years of age. The first menstrual period is the most important event in a girl's life. It is called menarche. Menstruation happens at different times. Depending on the physiology of the body, it can begin as early as 9 years. It can begin later for some girls. It is sometimes accompanied by feeling of fatigue, weakness, headache, changing moods, irritable temper, cramps in the lower abdomen, discomfort. And why is it important to say all these things? Because sometimes both girls and boys are uncomfortable about these changes. And it is difficult for every society to accept and to discuss these, because this used to become part of sex educations, learning about the sexuality of the body. And sometimes it is being taught in organizations called gender issues, in NGOs, non-government organizations which are working on gender issues. They are discussing these with adolescents in the communities, so that the communities are aware of some aspects which may not be discussed in the homes, because some parents are uncomfortable in discussing these aspects. So at least we as professional social workers should be comfortable in understanding, and that's why the next slide talks of the important terms in the physiology of the body when we discuss the female reproductive system. The cervix is the narrow lower portion of the uterus. The clitoris is the small female sex organ situated at the exterior angle of vulva. The umbilical cord, which you are more familiar with because we are sometimes referring to it in our biology classes in school days. The cord which contains two arteries and one vein, which links the fetus, the baby which is to be born, inside the womb to the placenta of the mother. Zygote, another term, which is the fertilized ovum till the second week of fertilization. Vagina, that part of the body of the female which provides the way for the baby to leave the uterus. So it's also called the birth canal. It's like a canal where the baby floats and leaves the body of the mother and is delivered. So it's the path for external fluid also to leave the body of the mother during childbirth. So all these are very important aspects in understanding the physiology of the woman, even in terms of understanding the menstrual cycle, the pregnancy, the childbirth aspects. Sometimes students feel that these are all physiological changes, and as social workers, we don't need to understand. But I am emphasizing that this module has been designed by IGNOU to enable us to understand physiology as a very important part of our training and be comfortable with terms like menstruation, pregnancy, and childbirth. So what is menstruation, as I just mentioned? It is the flow of the blood, fluid, and tissue out of the uterus of the female through the vagina. It occurs every month, mostly for most women. It may last between 3 to 7 days. It is also referred to as the menstrual cycle. And as I said, it lasts between 28 days to 30 days on an average. When pregnancy begins in any girl, woman, the menstrual cycle and the ovulation stop. That is nature's way of handling the childbirth. After childbirth, usually the menstrual cycle resumes after 100 days. In some women, it may resume after as much as 6 months. Pregnancy can occur even when one is breastfeeding. So all these myths which we sometimes have, that we can't get pregnant if we are breastfeeding, is debarred by all these facts being stated in this module. We also need to state that every living organism requires nourishment for its growth and needs to get rid of its waste products. So menstruation, pregnancy, childbirth, ovulation, these are all nature's way of reproducing, making the next generation and carrying on the cycle of reproduction. Since every living organism requires nourishment and needs to get rid of its waste products, it is the placenta in the woman which serves the purpose. It prevents the blood of the mother from entering the circulation of the fetus. And these are the aspects which we need to come to terms with as an upcoming social worker, especially in the medical setting. So having said basic information to you about the physiology, which is part of the unit 2 of this block, I'm coming to the next slide, which is a continuation of the previous slide. which states that during pregnancy, it's important for women to undergo a regular checkup in order to ensure that the new life which is in their body, the new baby which is going to be born, is developing in a healthy manner. So regular checkups are advised. And sometimes the word delivery, we never thought about it. What does the word delivery mean? The mother delivers the baby. So it's that simple term that we call it delivery. It is after 266 days, approximately after fertilization, that the fetus is completely developed and the mother is in a position to deliver the baby either by natural birth or by cesarean or by forceps delivery, depending on what are the parameters which the doctors have seen in the baby and the mother. Now, having mentioned menstruation to you, a little footnote here is talking about green menstruation, because women have now begun using biodegradable hygiene products which are environment friendly and which have been developed more recently, realizing the unknown damage which we have been causing unknowingly. So that's why the focus now on green menstruation. Does anyone have any questions before we move to unit 3 of early stages of human growth? As I said, there are 4 units for the day today, and it is 2 units I have covered after stating the objectives of this module to you. Does anyone have any questions so far based on the physiology of the body? Somebody is saying we didn't get semester 1 and 2 result, but that you will get. That is not related to this module, is it? Impacting your module. I'm only concerned, to be very honest, that there are 24, 25 of you now. So are any more going to be joining? Because I have covered half of today's session. And I am concerned. Yes, Maria? Do you have a class representative or anybody I need to connect with? Or is it okay? I can continue with module unit 3, early stages of human growth? Yes.
Please, ma. Hello.
Tell me. Yes, Mariam, I can hear you.
Ma, please, can you come back for that unit, women reproductive system?
Again, you want to discuss reproductive system?
I didn't get it very well.
Okay, so we will first go through the next 2 units, 3 and 4, and then I will revisit the reproductive system. Is that fair enough?
Yes, ma.
Yeah, let's do that. Anybody else? Because it's good to take questions, club questions together. I will take questions together. We will address it. Anybody else has any other query? The male reproductive system and the female reproductive system, or both the reproductive system? Which one, Mariam, you want to discuss in detail more? Have you seen the module? All of you have to refer to that document. You have the module with you? Yes, Davis?
Yes, we have. Yes, I have.
So we need to read that also, but I will first go through unit 3 and 4. I would request you also to read the module. Okay, once I finish, I will request you to go through the module, but depending on the time I have after finishing these 2 units, I will discuss further. Any other question? Yes, David? Okay, Mariam?
No problem. I will go through the module. Thank you, ma.
Excellent, excellent. Yes, Davis wanted to ask a question. It's good to take questions halfway through so that we know what we are addressing and how much time we need at the end. Somebody else has any other question before we move to unit 3? No? Okay. So somebody had raised their hand. So far, everything is clear. Whatever I have discussed, slides are simple for you to understand. Yes? Okay. So now, unit 3 is called early stages of human growth, right? Now, there are 5. Can you see the slide? Unit 3, early stage of human growth, the objectives with which this unit has been prepared. Preliminary stages of prenatal development, what are they? Major adjustments made by infants, what are they? Recognizing the characteristics in an infant, listing the developmental tasks of babyhood, and importance of understanding family relationships. Correct? This slide is seen to all of you. All of you can see this slide?
Yes, ma'am.
Very good. So what are the different stages of development? Mariam, this will also help you a little bit, and more details are coming. First is the period of zygote. When the baby is conceived to the second week, that is the period of zygote. From the third week to the 8th week, it is called period of embryo. And the last is 9th to 38th week. That is the period of fetus. Correct? So these are the three major stages of development of the baby. And what is important is that why is conception being discussed as important? It is important to understand that any child that is conceived, any baby that is conceived, it is important to understand the hereditary endowment of that child because it affects the later development. The sex of the child impacts the later development. The number of offspring any couple may have, if I am the firstborn or the second-born or the third-born or the fourth-born, it impacts my relationships. You might recall that the first-born child sometimes gets more pampering, attention because it's the first child in the family and the parents are so excited. This is my first baby. When the second baby comes by, depending on the gap between the first and the second as well, the parents know what to expect. They are not so anxious. There is a sibling, that is the older child, for the younger child to relate with. There is bonding. They can play together. They can grow up together. So many things impact the child. Ordinal position is this, that am I the firstborn or the second-born or the third-born? Is this the twins? Are we triplets? All these things, the birth order it is called, is important because it is considered by researchers and psychologists to be the most powerful influence which it has on our personality, on our genetics, on our gender. Am I the older boy, the younger girl? Do I have an older brother? Do I have an older sister? All these things, if we look back at our own childhoods and look at our clients whom we will be coming in contact with in field, the temperament of the firstborn, the parenting style also sometimes changes between the firstborn and the secondborn. As I said, some parents are very anxious at the firstborn. Oh my God, what should I do? The child got a fever. Oh my God, what should I do? The child is having loose motions. By the time the second child comes along, you begin to know, okay, this is normal. The child can have fever. The child can have loose motion. The child can have stomach ache. I have to do it like this. I should be more careful about temperature differences. Before summer moves to winter, I must look after my child in this way. So many things impact the growing up because of parenting styles. So in psychology, as I said, we borrow from many disciplines. So we're borrowing from psychology also. In psychology, the ordinal position, what is ordinal position? The birth order. Am I the firstborn, the secondborn, thirdborn? It can have an impact on the development of the individual's identity and self-esteem as well. Why is this important? Because a ranking can play a role in the way we see ourselves. If I'm the firstborn, sometimes we get more attention by the parent. And when the second child comes along, we begin to get little less attention because the parents have to attend to two children instead of one. Similarly, if there are 5 children in the family, you can understand how it is. So psychology and sociology teach us that all these processes impact us in our growing up stages, which impact our personality, our self-worth, our self-esteem, and that means it impacts us later in life. And if that self-esteem and self-worth is not taken care of, it can impact us as adults, and we may land up requiring the services of social worker, counselor, psychotherapist, physiotherapist, depends. Now, this brings us to the next slide, that what are the conditions which affect our adjustment to postnatal life? Postnatal is once the child is born. What impacts us? The prenatal environment. When we were in the womb of the mother, what was the atmosphere in the house? What was the conditions? Was I a working woman? Did I get adequate rest? Did I get adequate nutrition? Did I get adequate love and attention from my spouse, from other members in the family? Did I have anyone to take care of me as a pregnant lady? And was there any conflict in the house? Some houses there is conflict and the pregnancy of the mother gets impacted. The birth of the child, the nature of the child gets impacted. That's prenatal environment provided to the mother before the child is born. Then what kind of birth happens? That is the second important aspect. Is it a natural birth? It is a cesarean birth. Is it a breech delivery? Is it by forceps delivery? Many things impact the child. As I mentioned to you, what were the parental attitudes? Sometimes I have already had 2 children or 3 children and the 4th child, and I'm conceiving again as a mother. And sometimes the parent may have conflict that, oh, we didn't want another child. So we may not be unwanted within quotes, but we may not be, the parents may not be ready to have us. Sometimes financially the parents cannot afford a 4th child. That also happens in some houses. So is it that kind of situation? So parental attitudes before I am born, when I am born, after I am born, am I a burden on the child, on the parents financially? It so happens sometimes that I already had 3 children, and by the time the 4th child comes along, unfortunately, parent lost the job. Now, without a job, if I have to bring up 4 children, how difficult it is. All these things impact the postnatal life of the child. Then other aspects which impact is the emotions of the newborn. And this also brings us to the fact that it brings us to the beginning of personality of the newborn child. Why is my brother so different from me? Why is my sister so different from me? Why twins are so different from each other? Why, if we have 5 children, all 5 of us are different from each other? Sometimes one parent is telling the other, this aspect is like yours. This aspect of the child is gone on you. You get angry very quickly. See, he gets angry very quickly. So many aspects impact our growing up. And these are very essential for us to understand that what are the developmental tasks in babyhood and what it means, what is developmental tasks, what are the developmental milestones in babyhood, which as a medical social worker or as a professional social worker or as an upcoming social worker or as a student social worker, I need to understand if I need to understand human growth and process of growing up. So what are the 6 different aspects, 5 different aspects as enumerated in this slide is, first is physical development. How quickly am I gaining height, weight? Is my speech as per the milestones which the doctor has advised? Is my speech delayed? Am I a low weight baby? Is it the correct weight? Have I gaining weight periodically? So the checkups which take me to the doctor enable me and my parents to see the physical development. Is it age appropriate? Secondly, what are the physiological functions of the body? Is there any weakness in the child? Does the weight and the height be proportionate? Are my, some children don't crawl, they and parents get upset. Oh my god, my child has not started crawling, he's 9 months old. All these are the physiological changes which are important for us to understand if we need to understand developmental milestones in babyhood. What are the skills we need to learn as a baby? Whether my head is raised, whether I can turn my head from side to side, right? As I said, whether I'm crawling, whether I am beginning to say some minimal words, ma, pa, o, a, some Am I able to comprehend what my parent or caretakers are telling me or my siblings are saying to me? Have I begun to learn to speak? All these are essential developmental tasks in babyhood. Other than the physiological developmental tasks which I have mentioned, there are also emotional behaviors in babies which are perceived, picked up by parents, and which are important elements of good parenting. Am I able to see that is my child able to express fear if the child is scared? Is the child able to express curiosity? If there is joy in the house, I'm playing with the child, or a sibling is playing with my baby. Can the child be joyful? Right? Can the baby feel affection if I'm cuddling, hugging, bringing the child closer to me? All these are important emotional behaviors in babyhood, which are essential for us to understand. So other than these physiological skills, physiological milestones, developmental milestones, what are the other skills which are acquired in childhood? So what does growing up mean when we say growing up? What are the self-help skills? If I fall down, can I get up as I'm growing up? Can I take help of something, table, chair, someone's hand as I'm growing up? In childhood, what social help skills do I need to learn? Once I start going to play school, what does it require me to do? I am alone in the house. Only my parents are attending to me, and my sibling may be attending to me. But in the play school, there are many other children. Am I comfortable with playing with other children? I'm quite comfortable as a growing up child to adapt to staying with other children for some hours if my parents are working. From preschool, when I move to regular school, what are the skills I need to learn in going to school? All these which we have forgotten in our growing up years are now important for us to understand as professional social workers if we want to understand human growth and behavior. Now, what are the three factors which are essentials? I'm going on saying we need to learn skills. What do you think are the skills that we need to learn, and what are the factors which impact our learning of those skills? Any skill, how do we learn any skill? Cooking, cleaning, chatting, talking, by practice. So same for a child, any skill is learned through practice. So the child needs opportunity to practice. I cannot expect the child to learn the skills without practicing talking with the child, without practicing moving around the house with the child. If I'm feeding the child needs to understand that I am trying to feed the child. There should be an incentive for the child as they are growing up to learn. Okay, we encourage the child, okay, stand up, try and stand up. We don't pull the child up or push the child down. We encourage them. So all these become essential ways of learning skills, and we need to provide a good model to copy. Sometimes we need to come down to the level of the child. You might have seen some parents, they just bend down and allow the child to be on their back and they take them around the house. So many things parents do in enabling children to learn to develop skills as they are growing up. And it is important for us to understand that maturation, learning, growing up, human growth requires small steps, baby steps, and it does not happen in one go. There are many small steps, a lot of effort by the parents in enabling the children to grow up, to be able to acclimatize, to be able to adjust to school settings. Yes, if they are facing new experiences by going to the creche, daycare center, or school, how they are accepting other adults in their life, because the parents are not going to school with them. The teacher is there, the helper is there, other children are there. If we are traveling by bus, older children are there. All these enables the child to attach meaning to new experiences, to new objects, to new people, to new situations. And it's a lot of effort if we look back. because the child has to recognize who are the familiar people, my parents, who are the familiar people, my siblings, what are the familiar objects, those in my house. But he or she moves to unfamiliar places like creche, school, neighborhood, daycare center. Sometimes parents have caretakers who come and attend to the child if both parents are working. So, all these impact family relationships. All these impact our growing up. I'll pause here just to ask that are we all understanding what I'm trying to explain? I have tried to simplify this growing up process for you. But if there are any questions, I can take it now before I proceed. Anybody has any questions for me now? You're understanding this third unit, process of growing up from babyhood to childhood. Are you there? Because I can't see any video. No video is on, so somebody has to switch on their video to speak. Yes, please speak. Yes, good to hear you. Go
Hello,
ahead.
ma'am. I want you
Yes,
to explain more about parent-child relationship.
yes, good. That's a good question.
Thank
Anybody
you.
else? I'll come to that. Yes, I will come to parent-child relationships because this slide also talks about relationships between parent and child, relationships and bonding with siblings, bonding with extended family members like caregivers. Maybe sometimes my aunt might come to look after my child for some months, stays with me, or I might hire a caregiver, nanny, or might leave the child in a creche. All these are different aspects of parent child relationships. So, one of the things which is important in parent as a social worker, we need to understand that if we are in a school setting, some of it, as I said, this information is good for us because we are borrowing from medical setting. We are going to work in a team with school social worker, with psychologist, with medical social worker, with in any institutions. Suppose children are there, I don't know if you have any field settings where sometimes children who have been abandoned by their parents for different reasons are in an institution. We are calling it aftercare homes. So say children between who are found on the streets. Sometimes they are taken by the police or by the child welfare committee and they are put in an institutional setting where there is one caretaker and maybe their parents are not known. We don't know where their parents are. They may have left their village. They may have unknowingly run away from their house because of lack of money, because of lack of finances, because sometimes there is abuse in the house. It's possible. So some of these children have had difficult parent child relationships and how they relate to other children in institutional setting where they are taken care of, provided food and shelter. That is one set of relationships. Sometimes we are staying in our own house with our parents, with our siblings, but all the children don't have equally good relationship with their parents. Many factors impact that. Sometimes I may have older sibling, I am second born, and three more children are there in the family. As I mentioned, maybe by the time my mother had the fourth child, some situation in the house changed. The father or the head of the household or the head of the household, maybe if the woman is working, she has lost her job or some health problem has arisen for any of the parent, then the parents feel the burden of five children and sometimes unknowingly it impacts their relationship. Then they feel that the last born is a burden. Why did I have one more child? They cannot say that to the child, but between the husband and the wife, between the couple, or if there are elder parents or there's also extended grandparents, sometimes there is unknown conflict and children pick up that conflict. They pick up that, oh, because of me they are uncomfortable. Oh, I am the last born. After I was born my mother fell ill. Or sometimes unknowingly, unfortunately, there is a death in the family. Sometimes some women die during childbirth, right? Now the burden comes to the father and to his parents or other extended family members to look after all the children. All these and similar situations impact parent child relationships. And this will not manifest only in the house. Sometimes it manifests in the classroom. that I start fighting with other children. When there is a football match or some activity going on, suddenly we will find somebody became very aggressive. Somebody just bashed me up, punched me in the nose, pushed me at the side of the wall. When we do the case study or go into the case history as a social worker, we try and find out, was that because of any growing up problem? Was parent-child relationships in any way impacting them? What was, we go through the whole case history from the time the child is born. Yes, Rissa, you want to say something to me while I'm explaining this parent-child relationships? You can go ahead. You want to add something? You can switch on your video, then I can see you. Everson? You want to say something? Anybody wants to say anything here? Right? So are you beginning to understand how parent-child relationships can impact our intervention as a social worker? How parent-child relationships can impact our understanding of the last part on the previous slide. Somebody has written, that was a while ago. How parent-child relationships can enable us to understand what intervention is required by us as a social worker. Do you have school social worker? Sometimes we have school social workers in schools. Do you have that in your settings in Africa?
No, ma, we
Social
in
worker?
Nigeria, there is not.
No? Okay.
We
In
here, there
India?
is not.
No. So in India, we have school social workers who are sometimes, the teachers sometimes refer such students to school social workers and counselors. That, see, this child is not attentive in class. Every time I give him a task to do, he disturbs the class. Or he or she gets into bullying behavior. We do not know the background of this child. So the social worker takes it up as a case study. You know, case study? And tries and finds out, does home visit. Home visit, you know, visits the home of the child, tries to meet the parents, sometimes calls the parents for individual meeting in their cabin in the school, tries to understand the background of the child. Where is the aggression and the anger coming from? Sometimes it can come from somewhere else, it can display somewhere else, it can get transacted somewhere else. Am I making myself clear to you? You asking about parent-child relationships? Are you beginning to understand what I'm trying to say? Yes? Yes, Anas? You asking me na about parent-child relationship? Is it clear now?
Yes, ma'am, I'm clear.
Clear, yes. So I thought I should give some examples and explain. Now we come to the last unit of this block today. It is called the later stages of human growth, which I already started discussing with you in a different way. But to go about it, as I said, we already covered 3 units. This is the last unit, and then we will have discussion. I want to give time for discussion because it's important. Unit 4 talks about the later stages of human growth. What are the 4 main stages of human growth? The developmental aspects of childhood, the developmental aspects of adolescence, the developmental aspects of adulthood, and the developmental decline and aging in human beings. Okay, so these are the 4 major aspects. We already started discussing developmental aspects of childhood. Now, what does developmental aspects of childhood mean? I am revisiting some of the things I said in my previous slide and trying to connect unit 1 and 2 to unit 4. So the flow is maintained, and I will also keeping time to display the module to you in which Mariam and others who were asking questions about the physiological changes, we will go through that also because we have time for that. Now, the developmental aspects of childhood, puberty is one of the important aspects. It is important in the lifespan of every individual. Puberty occurs earlier, mostly in girls than in boys. This is nature's way of growing up, of maturing in human beings. These are physiological changes which take place. There is also evidence that some children are reaching puberty earlier now than in previous generations. It is a lot to do with lifestyles, habits, our situations, home situations, the stress and the conflict which is emerging in the 21st century. Many aspects are impacting this. Now, what puberty means is the spurt in the growth of the body, as I mentioned to you in boys and girls, the changes in the size of the body, the changes in the proportions of the body. The primary sex characteristics in the girls are developing. The size of the uterus begins to grow. Menstruation begins. What are the secondary sex characteristics? There is growth of pubic hair, other body hair. In boys, as I mentioned, the muscles begin to grow. Their voice begins to break. Some children begin to grow in height, right? Some children become a little plump, they begin to grow in weight. So physiological changes differ from individual to individual. Now, this is the developmental aspects of childhood, which we just mentioned. Now, I'm coming to the developmental aspects of adulthood. What are the developmental aspects of adulthood? Adulthood, as I mentioned some time ago, is a period of adjustment to new patterns of life, to new social expectations. We are expected to play new roles. People begin to get married. They live in relationships which have begun in the 20th centuries. People begin to find companions. They begin to find partners. They begin to think of marriage because they have already started to think of earning a living. So becoming independent, developing new interests, developing new hobbies, changing our attitudes. What are the values which we are going to keep of our parents, or are we going to develop new values? If we are getting married, what roles do we need to play as a spouse, as a partner? All these changes become aspects of adulthood. We begin to assume responsibilities of adult life. When we are staying with our parents, we don't bother. It's our parents' responsibility to cook for us, to clean for us, to wash our clothes, to give us good food, to send us to school, to see that we finish our schooling. But when we become adults, it is our responsibility to cook for ourselves or to help our parents in cooking, to wash our own clothes or to help our parents in housework, to fend for ourselves, to earn a living or to help our parents to meet the needs of the household. All this means assuming responsibilities of adult life. So, as I mentioned, some people take up a job, some people get into business, some people begin occupation, some people get into occupation of the parent. Some mothers say, I am a doctor, you should also study medicine. Some parents say, I am into farming, you should also be a farmer. Some parents say, I am into farming, you should not be a farmer, you should become an engineer or a doctor, or get into medicine or become a social worker. It depends. So any occupation, vocation that we begin is mostly in adulthood, unless our circumstances compel us to begin early in life. Sometimes our family situation is such that we have to start earning or start going for job much younger age. Maybe some children at 15 and 16 years old started helping, started doing small jobs to supplement the family income, right? But largely in adulthood, we select our partner, we begin to manage our home, we take on civic responsibilities, we have to go and buy our groceries, we have to keep our house clean, we have to keep our house running, we have to get up on time, we have to find a good social group to interact with, we try and engage with people of our likes, we try not to get into company which is not appropriate for us, right? So our personal interests, our social interests, what kind of social life we want to lead, all these become aspects of growing up in adulthood. This is the second major aspect. What is the third major aspect of tasks which we need to do after adulthood and in growing up, in human growth? Obviously, we are aging. You have grown up and become adults, so your parents and me, our generation people will grow old. So we are growing old, we are aging, our physical capacities are going down. That is the way nature works. We may need your help. We may be helpless. Some people develop health issues faster than others. Some of us lose our jobs faster than others. So there are aspects of retirement. Some people voluntarily retire. Some have retirement inbuilt into the plan of the jobs that they are doing. So government organizations retire people at a particular age. Some people don't retire because they have to keep their families going. They need to work longer. So some elderly parents in villages, in cities, they continue working even when they grow old because some of their children are not having good enough jobs to do and they want to supplement the family income or they want to keep themselves active. They know that physically the health of the body is deteriorating as per nature's law of growing up and fading out, but they want to keep themselves active. So decline has many connotations, many definitions, many aspects. It is physical and partly psychological, and it depends on our attitudes to ourselves, to our life, to where we have lived our adult life. That is how aging will also happen. If I am waiting for retirement, some parents, some older people, unfortunately, they just fade out as soon as they retire because they just give up. They think, oh, we have worked very hard in adult life and we are tired and exhausted physically, mentally, emotionally, psychologically. Now I'm not going to do anything. So the activity cuts down, physical activity, psychological engagement. That's why it is said that we need to sustain our interests, some hobbies, so that we don't become disorganized or get into depression. So depression doesn't just happen in adult life or with youngsters or with mental health issues. It happens also to elderly people. This is important for us to understand as a developmental aspect. Why developmental decline and aging is an important aspect of this unit which I'm teaching you today. Because people age differently due to their socio-economic conditions, due to their educational backgrounds, due to different patterns of living, due to their mindsets. When we see some of parents, when they see their children growing up, they say, oh, now I can let go, now I can give up, now you people manage the house, you people manage the family. Some people remain more active, right? Some people regularly go for a walk, do yoga, do some meditation. These things keep them active. So we need to understand all this about elderly. If we are working in a setting where there are elderly people or any elderly client is coming to us in a physical, in a fieldwork setting, we need to understand these aspects of elderly. Then only we can deal with them as social workers in the making. Sometimes elderly people develop feelings of inferiority that, oh, my body has grown old. I'm not as beautiful as I used to be. There are wrinkles on my face. I can't walk as fast. Sometimes the thought pattern deludes us. We say something, but we mean something else. So our self-esteem is impacted. Our self-worth is impacted. Sometimes unknowingly, our children tell us, oh, you're growing old. That's why you can't remember anything. We feel small. We feel inhibited. All these aspects need to be understood by us. And we also need to understand as upcoming social workers that it is different in men and women. It's not obvious that men age faster than women or women age faster than men. It depends again on a lot of factors. It depends on how well we have looked after our diet and our nourishments in our growing up years. It depends on our surroundings. It depends on what support systems we have. A lot of things are impacted as we grow older. So these aspects need to be kept in mind when, as social workers, we are dealing with the elderly population. That's why we are teaching this as an essential part of growing up, human growth and development, human growth, behavior and counseling. That when your turn comes to attend to the elderly or to aging or to seeing decline, how well do you respond to it personally and professionally? Now we come to the last part. That is called Unit 5, Youth and Their Concerns. Anybody has any questions here before I move to the last part and then just show you the module as it appears in the website so that we can go through it and then see what are the questions we have. Does anyone have any questions so far? I am willing to take any response, any questions, any thought, any understanding. You can share it with me now. It's a good time. Are you there, any of you? Because we need video to be on, not to know we are there or not. Is anybody there? Or gone to have tea? Unit 5. Any questions? Before I move to Unit 5. Are you understanding what I'm trying to say, Everson? You and Anna's only switched on video, so I'm asking those who switching on video. You have to unmute yourself so you can share your thoughts with me. Just press that unmute button. You know that unmute button? Anas, you have anything to say?
No, ma'am. Just continue.
You're getting what I'm saying, all of you?
Yes.
Okay, I'm glad. Very good. So the last unit is called Youth and Their Concerns. Now, all of you are youngsters, so this aspect should be interesting and exciting for all of you. The concept and the meaning of youth. These 4 aspects are covered in this unit. What are the challenges which youngsters face? Is there any kind of exploitation or oppression of youth in any areas, in our cities, in our country? And what are the strategies and suggestions if we are going to work with the youth as social workers? These are the 4 aspects which we need to cover in this unit. So the concept of youth, as you might be knowing, and because you are also at that stage of your life, I believe all of you are youngsters. So I think you can question this, that youth is a stage where we are searching for meaning, belonging, achievement, feeling included, wanting to be in the company of others, discovering ourselves. What do I like? What do I dislike? How do I look? Am I handsome? Am I good looking? Am I beautiful? What does it mean to be beautiful? What does it mean to be good looking? What qualities should I have which will stand me out? I stand out. People call for me. People make friends with me easily. People reach out to me. I reach out to others. So what are the qualities and capabilities which are essential for us to develop in discovering ourselves, in developing our self-esteem, in having good worth? We think good about ourselves. Our family members are proud of us. Our siblings feel that, wow, I would like to discuss with XYZ. My sibling is the best. Mariam is the best. Prisa is the best. Stephen is the best. Anas is the best. What does it feel if we feel like that? And how should we develop physically, psychologically, emotionally? What qualities can we develop in ourselves to groom ourselves better so that we stand out? That is the process of discovering oneself. It also means that it is that stage of our life where we are going to make some decisions about our career, about our future. Should I take up this job? Should I give this exam? Should I follow in the footsteps of my father and mother? Should I follow in the footsteps of my older brother? If I'm the eldest in the family, do I have a responsibility to my younger siblings? What future do I want to make? How do I want my future to be? What direction should my life take? Am I capable enough of taking that direction? Do I need any help? So all these become aspects. If we understand this as youngsters, then as professionals, we will also begin to understand this in the youngsters who approach us in the different settings when we need to be professional social workers. We need to understand what does it mean to be a youth? What are their aspirations so that we can relate to them appropriately. It has to be age appropriate. Our relationship with the child, with the adolescent, with the youngster, with the elderly, we need to relate differently as a professional social worker, which means what? We need to understand their concerns. We need to understand their nature. We need to understand how to talk to them. We need to understand how to relate with them. We need to understand how to give them space to talk, to share their thoughts and feelings with us. So we have to nurture ourselves as professional social workers, because youth is also the phase for accepting, rejecting, or reshaping our values and beliefs. And what stance should we have towards status, towards authority figures? How should we behave towards people older to us? If we are not behaving in a particular way, can somebody correct us? Are we open to correction? That is also important, because if they are not open to correction, they will not be open to you as a social worker who is approaching them for. They may need your help. Are they in a position to take help? That is important. And that's why we need to understand what are youth and its concerns. So youth is the age category between 15 and 30 years largely. It is a transitional stage from childhood to adulthood. Sometimes youngsters want to remain young, and transitioning to adulthood becomes difficult. And that's why youth is also seen as a social construct. Socially, we are saying in different societies, sometimes we see in certain societies, youth is going up to 35 years, 15 to 35 years. In some societies, they are saying, even at 40 years, I'm still young. I'm a youth. I've not yet transitioned to adulthood because I have not yet taken up responsibilities. That's why it's important for us to understand that what are the personal factors, what are the environmental factors, how does the environment of each individual impact his or her growing up from childhood to adulthood. I think you might have seen some people behave like children even when they are adults. What has happened? What environmental factors have impacted that they have not been able to grow up? We say, no, you have not grown up. You're not mature enough. What does it mean? These are the aspects which we need to understand. And we also need to relate it to the realities which are there in a changing society, that now youngsters are expected to grow up faster. Parents are in a hurry, children are in a hurry, society is in a hurry, that you should grow up faster and take responsibility. For different reasons, parents are not able to invest that kind of time and energy on the growing up of their children. Why has that happened in the 21st century? It's for you as budding social workers to explore and understand. Why do you think this has happened? I would like to ask you here. I would like to pause and ask you that why do you think that you have been expected to grow up? Is it because parents don't have time? Parents are busy with their jobs? What do you think is the reason? Can anyone tell me? Anytime you heard this phrase,
Come again,
you
ma'am.
need to grow up. I'm asking that we as parents, like suppose I'm in your parents' generation, right? We are mostly working parents, trying to meet the needs of the family, trying to meet our career goals. We are ambitious as well. And sometimes we tell our children, you should grow up fast. We are expecting that at 12 years of age, the child should start cooking. At 15 years of age, do your own washing, manage yourself, don't be a burden on me. Why do you think that would be a comment? Why would that be a cause for concern? Have you heard these comments in your society anytime?
What I'm going to is that, mom, in our
Your voice is,
society,
your voice is breaking. In our
what of now?
society, why?
Am I
No?
audible?
Now, correct. Yes.
In our society, our
Yes.
parents helps us to grow up in order to help them.
Yes. Correct.
And help them is that if you grow faster, we work house instead of them to work for us, we work for them. And
Correct.
if you grow, they want us to be a good children to, so that they will be proud of us.
Yes.
I understand.
That's good. Anybody else? That's a good response. Anybody else? You can have a different point of view. We are willing to take different point of view. One point of view I am giving, which Anas is supported with his example, is that I am saying we are asking our children to grow up faster. Right? You're taking too long. Just do your own thing. We are telling teenagers you should be able to throw the garbage, clean your own room, wash your own clothes, cook your own food. Don't rely on me. But our parents, I'm talking about my parents, waited for a long time to nurture us, to pamper us, to protect us, to cook for us. Do you think that has happened or not? And what do you think are the reasons is my question to you. We are finishing in half an hour, so not too long. I've made it very simple for you, this presentation today. And future ones also I've made it simple so that you understand quickly. And when you read the module, it becomes simple for you. That's my attempt. I will show you a screenshot of the module also just now. Because I think you have not seen the module, have you? Have you seen the matter that data which is provided to you by IGNOU in the module? Only Mariam said she has seen it. Has anybody else seen it? No, doesn't matter. So this will be a reason for you after my presentation is over. It will be a reason for you to go through the module. That does it say what I'm saying? Is it aligning with the 5 units that I have covered? Do you understand things better from what I have explained?
Yes, ma'am.
And that brings me back to this slide. That what are the realities in our changing society? That is the homework I'm giving you. I will ask you this next time. That is Monday morning. I will open that. What are the realities in our changing society? Is the society changing, and how is it changing? You have to interview your parents and recall your growing up years. So, has anything changed between the previous generation and this generation? That's my question. I'm writing so that anybody who can't hear can read also. Has anything changed between the previous generation and our generation? And how does it impact our learning as a social worker? That's what you need to think about in this weekend. Right? What has changed? Why has it changed? Are we seeing any differences in 5 years or 10 years? We would like to discuss that about your society when we talk again next time. Now I will complete this so that you have some idea what I'm trying to say. So what are the challenges we are facing in a changing society? What are the expectations our parents are having from us? What are the expectations that society is having from us? Are we able to help our parents financially or otherwise in meeting the needs of the family? Are we able to help our parents? I'm repeating so that you can understand what I'm trying to say. Are we able to help our parents in meeting the needs of the family? Why am I asking this question? Because if we don't reflect on what we are doing, when we are confronted with similar situation or different situation as a social worker, how will we deal with it? So first we need to understand our situation, reflect on it, understand our young age, understand our adulthood, understand our growth and development, and relate it to what we are confronted with as a social worker when we go for field work. We need to ask these questions only when we can have some basic understanding, which requires you to read. And last but not the least, what are the risk taking? What is risk taking? What risks are youngsters taking? Are we getting into any addictions? Are we getting into any drugs? Are we getting into different kinds? Even the mobile has become addiction for us now. We don't know. Unknowingly, we always want to be on the mobile. Even in the waking up in the morning, in the middle of the night, we want to see if anyone has messaged us. When we didn't have mobile, it was very different. So addictions of all kinds are plaguing us. How does it impact our lifestyle? How does it impact our eating habits? How does it impact our relationships? All these are questions which you need to think about. In rural areas, what are the changes that are taking place? Is it the same for urban areas? I'm leaving you with some questions so that there is food for thought. Food for thought means we have to think about it. We have to discuss among ourselves, among each other. Do you talk to, that's why I asked you, do you know each other? You said yes. So we need to talk to each other. These 4 or 5 things I'm writing in the chat. Are you reading my chat messages? Or you are gone off, all of you? Anybody there?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, we are on.
Yes, sir.
You're there, huh? Yes. So
Yeah, we are
Yes,
here.
we're following.
Yes,
you're
ma'am.
following, huh? What I'm saying. Yeah. I will just show you
Yes, we are following, ma'am.
one last slide before I ask your questions and show you the module screenshot. So related issues which we will come to, and why is it important that this module on human growth, growing up, process of growing up, how it has brought us from the physiological changes which we were discussing in the beginning, physiological changes of the body, growing up from babyhood to childhood to youth to adulthood to age, why all these are important and how they are impacting these 10 issues which I'm flagging on the last slide. How it is impacting our personal values, how it is impacting our lived values, what we believe in. Do we do what we believe in? How honest are we? How ethical are we personally and professionally? If we believe that relationships are important, are we maintaining a good lifestyle? Are we sleeping well? Are we waking up early? Are there any health issues which we are facing, which we need to take care of before we take care of health hazards of other people who are our clients? Right? We talk of marriage, we talk of live-in relationships, we talk of sexual partners. What are the, sometimes we talk of multiple partners. All these are causes for concern as a professional social worker. So what are the alternatives? What are the alternative sexual patterns which we may be following as youngsters, as youth? If we are attending to clients who are following alternative sexual patterns, how do we talk to them? How do we resolve their issues? Are we in a position to relate to young people? We ourselves are young people. Are we able to resolve issues of young people who are others, who may need our protection, who may need our participation, who may be deprived, who may be marginalized? They may not have even this much facility which we have to take online classes. They may be worse off than we are. They may be stigmatized for different reasons. All these become related issues for us to think about, to discuss, to ponder over, to understand, and to dwell upon, so that when we are understanding this BSW block 124, human growth and behavior, we know that it is not just about the physiology, it is not just about the psychology, but it is about our understanding as professional social workers. I have stopped that slide sharing because I am opening it up to any questions that you may have. And also I am sharing with you this module. Can you see the screen of the module which you have to read? Is the screen visible to you? BSW-124?
Yes.
Yes. This is the module, Mariam and others, that I want you to go through. I am going to show you some pages so that we can see the sequence of events which I have discussed. And before we close in 15 minutes, you can see that what will be the next 5 days program of 3 to 5 p.m. so that you can encourage others to join, because I think there was less attendance today. So there are 4 blocks, as I mentioned to you in the beginning of the class today at 3:15. Block 1 is process of growing up, which I have just completed. Block 2 is human growth and development. Block 3 is basics of psychology for social workers. And block 4 is basics of counseling. Block 1, which I started with at 3:15, I just want to show you the content. Can you see again carefully the screen? The content of the 4 blocks. Because I want you to understand the sequence of how this 6 days module will go, so that you are not surprised, shocked, unhappy, unaware, but you are mentally prepared for what will come on Monday. So you see the content on the screen. Process of growing up has 5 units. Unit 1, male reproductive system and functioning, which you will go through after this class. Unit 2, female reproductive system and functioning, which you will go through. Unit 3, early stages of human growth. Unit 4, later stages of human growth. And Unit 5, youth and their concerns. Monday, what will I cover? Block 2, human growth and development. What are the 5 units it has? Unit 1, personality development. Unit 2, determinants of personality. Unit 3, different stages of human development. Unit 4, theories of personality. Unit 5, psychosexual development, Freudian concept. Tuesday, Wednesday, basics of psychology for social workers will be covered in block 3. Again, it has 5 units. Relevance of psychology in social work practice. Unit 2, basic psychological concepts in human behavior. Unit 3, defense mechanisms. Unit 4, normality and abnormality. Unit 5, basic concepts of social psychology. What is block 4? Last day, that is 22nd of September, basics of counseling will be covered. What are the 5 units in that block? Unit 1, introduction to counseling. Unit 2, processes involved in counseling. Unit 3, supportive and behavioral techniques in counseling. Unit 4, cognitive and psychoanalytical techniques in counseling. And Unit 5, practical issues involved in counseling. Is that clear? Is the content clear to all of you?
Hello.
Yes. Any
Hello.
questions? Yes.
Am I
Chipilo?
I want to ask a question, ma.
Yes.
This model, is it the same with the one that was sent in our LMS portal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have already downloaded all the materials.
You have already been through this material?
We have downloaded it in our laptops.
Yes, but because Mariam and others raised some issues, I want to revisit this for 10 minutes so that you are encouraged to read it today.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
And I also want to use this as a reason to explain to you the trajectory I'll be following, because everyone may not be as alert as you to download it. I think some people didn't download it.
Yes, ma'am.
You're getting my point? So I'm revisiting this to finish this process so that everyone is on the same page that they have to read this module. So this is the course introduction. Good that you have downloaded it. I'm very happy. This is the introduction, and I want to just take you to Mariam's question. So process of growing up, which I covered, it starts with introduction, and the 5 units are covered. Unit 1, Mariam, you will read male reproductive system and functioning, same which I covered. All the details are here. Physiological changes at the onset of adolescence, right? Mariam
Yes,
is there?
ma, I get it.
Now
Yes,
you got
I'm
it?
there, ma. Yes, I'm with you.
I'm glad, very happy. Then scrotum and texture. You got it, you downloaded. All the details
Yes.
are there. Just yes. And then you have some questions here. Check your progress. So what happens when you check your progress? You know that you have covered that. You know that you have read about it. Even the diagram is there in this module. Correct? The diagram is there. I use the time so that I do not skip any of the units. So all the points which I have covered are there. Even the keywords are there, which in some Monday onwards I have put keywords in some of my presentation. But in this keywords, definitely you read 1.8. What is circumcision? What is puberty? For all I'm saying. What is testicles? What is vasectomy? What is wet dreams? Right? This will help you. And the answers to check your progress also are there in the module. Right? So the module gives the question and also gives the answers to check your progress. Then the second is again female reproductive system and functioning. Same, it goes through the process. Everyone is seeing the screen. Again, the diagram is there, external organs. Again, questions are there so that answers are there later. Check your progress. So after reading it, you can check your progress. That, okay, this is what I have understood about the physiology of the body. This is what I have understood about one unit. This is what I have understood about second unit. And again, menstrual cycle and onset of puberty. Like that, the whole module is available to you. And I'm very happy that you have already downloaded it. Now we can take any questions for 5-10 minutes before we close for the day. Anybody has any questions? You can ask. But I thought I should just clarify. Yes. Chakarna, how do you pronounce your name? Yes.
Okay, mine is just a question, but it's not related maybe to this course.
What is
I don't know the results for last semester. Is it going to publish when, or do you have any idea for this?
No, I don't have idea because
Okay.
that only head office can tell. So maybe if you have any email ID, you have email ID of Dr. Panigrahi,
Yes, I have it.
you can write one mail.
Okay, fine.
Any other question? Have you been able to make clear in 2 hours session this unit 1, 2, 3, 4, which I have discussed? Block 1. That's my purpose of asking this, showing you the module so that we are all discussing the same thing and know where we are heading. Were you comfortable with understanding block 1? Precious, Mayurmya, Chipilro, Anderson, now I'm taking name Michael, Anas. Everybody comfortable with what I have discussed in 2 hours session?
Yes, ma'am, we are comfortable.
It is clear
Yes,
to you?
ma'am. Yeah. Yes, ma'am. We feel comfortable.
Very
was
much,
simple.
ma'am. Very much.
It was simple, na? So Monday also I have made it simple. But if you participate, it will be good from Monday onwards. Today, first time between you and me. So from Monday, if you participate, like I have posted some messages in the chat. So if you have some point of view, you can write in the chat or you can share in the screen. So if you switch on your video, I feel comfortable. Okay, somebody is listening to me. As I'm thinking you have gone to sleep or you're gone to tea or you're doing housework. So I just wanted to I'm glad that you have written in the chat. It was very clear. And I wanted to keep it in such a way that you remain interested because your interest should not go now. Otherwise, what's the point? You should remain interested in the program. We want good social workers. So we want our sharing of all our knowledge and experience with you. So the more you relate to me or discuss with me, the more examples come from my work. Then I can share more experiences. Is that okay with all of you?
Yeah. Can I ask a question?
Yes, you can ask the question.
Are we not having a class tomorrow?
No, Monday to Friday. No class tomorrow. I checked with Dr. Panigrahi. Now all other class, Monday to Friday, 5 more classes are there. So come, like you came today 3 o'clock sharp, come at 3 o'clock sharp, so that we begin at 3 o'clock sharp. If you can encourage your classmates to come, that will be very nice. Because today we got less attendance, isn't it? So you can give feedback to those who didn't join, that it was easy, it was simple, and you should all join. Is that okay? Possible?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions? I'm still waiting so that everyone is comfortable. Only then I will quit this Google Meet. It's okay. Very good. Sir is there or he has left? No, Dr. Panigre is there. So if he wants to say something or anybody else wants to, has any other question or any other thought, this is how you expected it to be. Okay. Davis has written, thank you for the encouragement. Very audible and clear. I couldn't participate because I was also at okay. Okay, Davis. Take care next time. Next time you participate. Yeah. Thanks for letting me know. I like the honesty. At least you tell me what you're doing, what's happening. So I can also empathize with you as a social worker. Okay, doesn't matter. You are doing your best. I'm doing my best. So Monday again, we'll do our best. That's my plan. But I would really like if more students would join, because it's easy to discuss online and then we are all understanding the same thing. And when you are reading now those 20, 40 pages, it will become simple for you. That's my plan. That's how I have planned it. So thank you. Thanks for your encouragement. Thanks for your time. Yeah. And participation, because that is what is important. Yes, Dr. Panigrai wants to say something.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Am I audible, ma'am? So thank
Yes,
you
sir.
very
Yes,
much
sir.
for the nice presentation. So I
Thank
think
you,
this
sir.
class is really good. I think students enjoy your class. Friends, you
Yes.
must enjoy the class.
I'm
So
glad. I hope more students can join.
Sunday is the holiday.
Yes,
So
sir.
again, you will join on Monday.
Hmm.
So before coming to class, go through your picture materials. So that really that will help to you. So ma'am is rightly said to you, go through with the materials, then it will enjoyable. I mean the class will interesting. So it's my request to all of you, have a glance on the material. Thank you very much. Again, you will see on Monday 3 o'clock.
Thank you, sir.
Ma'am, Monday straight away you can take the class.
Definitely. Okay,
Because
sir.
everybody knows
Thank you
you now.
very much.
Monday straight away you can take the class.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much to all of you.
Thanks. Thanks to all of you.
Thank you,
Bye
sir.
bye. Enjoy your weekend here. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, man. Have a nice weekend.
Ma'am.
159.